Hey everybody, welcome Michael, Mark, Don, Sergio, Sergio, Valerie, Nikki, welcome everybody. If you want to chat with me like these fine folks, just click the link right here. This little green box thing right in here. Click that, and a few seconds later, you'll be able to chat on the live stream. And welcome, just like all these fine folks. And we're going to do 3 main topics today. So we got Q4 starting. We've got epic bearishness in the markets. Is this deja vu? And then after I go through the market a little bit, I will do 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes of your requests. And I got rules on that. You know, when you start throwing in requests, hey, Rungamer, glad to see you. When you start throwing in requests, 1 request per person, and then give somebody else a chance to go before you throw more at me. Don't just throw a giant list. That's not polite to other people. And the heat of it, I will get behind. I will try to catch back up by the end. I always have. I've been doing this for 2 years now. Yeah, this makes 2 years right now. 2 years I've been doing this. Haven't missed a single week. So glad to have everybody. This is like the 2-year anniversary celebration. So there we go. Hey, even Goose is here. So Alan's here, David's here, Goose is here. It's a party now. My wife, I'm not sure what she's up to right now, but maybe she'll show up here eventually. Anyway, glad to have you. This is Patrick Sullivan's. This is in the old city downtown. Kind of a cool, neat place to hang out. And yeah, each week I try to show you a part of Knoxville. So a lot of times we look downtown to the waterfront and the big glass ball that usually I have behind me right here. You know, this ball. So this different shot of Knoxville. So let's go ahead and get started. It is 5:01, 5:02 now. All right, start of Q4. We have the S&P 500 in a blackout right now. And as we see almost, it's not every quarter, but a lot of quarters as the S&P 500 companies go into their blackout, we kind of get this little pullback before they start announcing earnings. We see it all the time. Now, we also see money flowing into financials. Wells Fargo, that's not so much the case today, but we usually see money flowing into those financials, and then they flow out of financials and into big tech. Afternoon, Rick Anderson, Ander USA. Afternoon, everybody. And so that's kind of like, you have to keep that in mind. That's the pattern that we have going. Earnings haven't started for Q4 yet. This will be the Q3 earnings. Those will probably pick up next week. This week, we're kind of devoid of earnings. All right. There is an epic level of bearishness that reminds me a lot of 1 year ago today. Goose and I were talking about this last night. Epic bearishness. I mean, this is like everybody got super bearish all of a sudden. What really changed? Not a whole lot really changed, except that the market went down. And after doing a historic rally from March till June, or July, really, like, what did you expect? All right. So be careful trying to be bearish. There's some divergence building in the market right now. Each little squiggle lower has been building divergence and divergence building bigger and bigger. And one of these little squiggles is going to be the last one, and we're going to rip higher. That's the way it looks like on the chart right now. And if you don't know how to see that, that's why you're here, right? And let's go ahead and get this out of the way. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. I may never get another prediction right again. All right, but this presentation here tend to be informational, educational, and entertaining. A little bit of fun. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, financial instrument or otherwise. I mean, I may be right, I may be wrong. You're trusting a guy on the internet, on YouTube. How much do you trust me? Now, some of you trust me a lot. I've made you some money along the way, or helped you make some money along the way, as I should say. And some of you are probably brand new. Make sure you trust me before you do anything that I say. Paper trade it, watch it, mark it on a chart, keep track of what I say. And once you build some trust, then we can start building a further relationship. And if you desire personal financial advice, you got to hire and consult a financial advisor. That's not me. I'm not a financial advisor. in no capacity. I know how to manage some money, but I'm not going to tell you how to manage yours in your financial situation. That's not my business. All right. I'm an entertainer. I'm here to provide financial based entertainment. And if you want to hang out with me and chat with me all day and see more of my information and takes on the market, link is in the description. It's like $5 for 3 months. All right. That's my pitch. For those of you that like to support me, there it is. You get a weekly watch list, my favorite indicator, all that jazz. Otherwise, let's jump into it. All right. Q4 kicking off. And as we talk about each morning, this week's kind of devoid of really much of anything. The mainstream media has kind of latched on to the fact that Powell came out and Hawker and Barr, and they were all really talking up the interest rate raises. We've got 3 months left this year. 3 months, right? That's like 2 FOMC meetings, I think. And so they're going to get like 1 rate raise, maybe. How detrimental is that to the market? The last one didn't matter, and this one's not going to matter either, all right? It takes 2 full years for an interest rate to trickle through the full real economy, and we've only been right at, what, April, May, June, July, August, September. So we're like 17 months, almost 18 months in from the first rate raise in April of 2022, last year. And so that means we're not even all the way through the first rate raise, which we won't have fully incorporated till April next year. And then we've got all the ones we did after that, the fastest pace in history. If something's going to unravel, it might unravel like next year, probably. I think it's going to take some time for it to trickle on through. Goose, I've been thinking about this. We were having this conversation last night, and it may take that full time for the panic to set in, and we may make new all-time highs before that all capitulates into a problem. All right, this is just me speculating and talking about big picture stuff before we really dive into the smaller time frames here. And we've got jolts coming out this morning. 9.6. That's bullish. More job openings than we even expected. I thought it might dwindle. It didn't. There's more job openings, and then the market still dropped, right? Well, tomorrow, Wednesday, we've got some non-farm employment change. We got ISM services. We've got unemployment claims that we get every week, and then we've got the non-farm employment change and unemployment rate coming out on Friday. Got some more Fed members speaking, but it's kind of a benign week. So we've got no earnings to speak of, and we've got benign economic news. And it just leaves the market to drift, all right? We're just kind of drifting, looking for the bottom right now. Now, next week we have CPI and PPI coming out, and those can be some market mover stuff. We'll talk about those more next week during 30 Minutes of Awesome, because we'll be here on Tuesday. There's not really much. We have Columbus Day on Monday, and then the markets are still open, but it is a bank holiday. So it'll be kind of a weird day in the market, because there's not a lot of days where we get the banks are closed, the financial institutions, but the market's open. That's kind of weird for the market. But anyway, Tuesday, not really much. And then Wednesday, we get the PPI, which these are backwards, and we'll get the FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock, which we already know what they said. I don't know why it's always a surprise, but it usually is a market mover. We're going to raise rates is what they expect to happen. And we're going to get the minutes and say, yeah, we expect to raise rates. And then on Thursday, we're going to get CPI, which usually moves the market, along with some unemployment claims. And then Friday, we get some consumer sentiment preliminary. Didn't we just get the revised one for the prior month? Anyway, rinse, repeat. So that's kind of the economic news coming up. And we're going to pick up. Next week's going to be interesting, because S&P 500 companies are going to start. We're going to get the beginning of the earnings announcements. That's going to start next week. And then the following week, we're going to pick it up. And it'll probably be toward the end of October when we really get into the heart of it, where a bunch of it happens. And then as we get into November, most of the S&P companies will be out of their earnings blackout and start doing buybacks again. So all the buybacks that get announced during earnings, they're going to start carrying forward, start doing it. All right. Now, so far this year, we've had the Magnificent Seven. That's kind of carried the market higher. They're up like 50% this year, while the S&P 493. The other, the rest of it minus the 7 is only up like 4%. And after today, it's probably up like, if it's up at all, up nothing. We're probably flat on the year. All right. The craziness here, the S5FI, which this will get updated here in just about 10 minutes for today, always lags a little bit. This thing is ridiculously low. And let's see if I can actually pull it up live on bar chart. See, yeah, it was down to 7 at the close. Look at that ridiculousness. Single digits, we don't typically hang out at single digits before we get a wicked reversal. All right. Just keep it in mind. Just keep it in mind. S5FI, it does lag on TradingView just a little bit. Doesn't process till after. I mean, look at this. Look where we were last time we were in the single digits. Remember what I was saying? This is deja vu for a year ago. Look at this. We're going to be at 7 today. Last time we were at 7. Now, did we hang out there a couple days? Yeah, we hung out there a couple days. Then what happened? Epic rip right up to the top. What are we likely to do? Epic rip right back to the top. Probably get there sometime in November. All right. This is the point where it's like Warren Buffett says, when there's blood in the streets, to paraphrase, when there's blood in the streets, you got to be a buyer. You got to be hunting the deals. All right. Don't get caught up in the bearishness. This is what you guys watch me for. I'm sitting here pretty much calling a bottom. Either it's likely to happen this week. We're right there at it. All right. Highly likely. When we look at the simplified S&P chart, we got the close right down in my zone right there. On the daily, this happened right there in the orange box. We finally got the close down there. This day we spiked down there and we reversed up here higher. We tried to go higher into the roadmap line and we flushed it out and got the bottom. We didn't close below the orange box. That was positive. That's a small positive in here right now. All right. This can be the bottom. That could be it. That could be, we could see a small flush in the morning and then go. All right. Probably going to do something like this on the way back out of here. And look, that looks like a Head and Shoulders. Amazing. Amazing, right? And it's kind of like a do. Look at that. Funny how that happens, right? So, if that happens, probably get a big up. That could be the bottom right there today. All right. I was cautiously buying a few things. Not a lot of things, just a couple small exposure on a few things. Bought some TQQQ, just a few calls, not much. Bought some SVXY calls, not much. Both of those out a ways, like December. Give it a little more time to flush on down, but I was a buyer here. I'll be a buyer down here. If we go down to 41.60, I'll be a buyer down here too. All right. These are small starter positions. I usually say don't buy on the way down. Wait till we reverse. That'd be the much smarter thing. I'll be another buyer here when we hold this and turn up again. All right. I just bought a couple, so keeps me from doing stupid stuff. Know how you trade. Know what your psychology is. All right. Yeah. On Monday, I speculated that Gates was gonna file the thing to oust McCarthy, and it looks like McCarthy's getting ousted. He didn't block the vote, so he's probably getting out, and he'll probably have to try to get voted back in, or we'll be in turmoil. And the worst case scenario is it stays in turmoil for the next 45 days, and they shut the government down, and nobody's in charge, and it's just a big crap show. Let's face it. They're a bunch of kids playing around up there, is the way I look at it. you know, and they're swayed by money. Apparently, $10,000 can buy you a vote on anything, according to BlackRock. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's, you know, whose line is it anyway? The numbers don't matter. The points are all made up. You know, it's all bullshit. So, I don't really care about them. I don't feel like they drive the market. It's all sentiment anyway. If we get some clarity on the whole situation up there, this thing will probably take off. I mean, that's, you know, all we've got so far is just more unclarity, non-clarity. That's what we have. All right. Get off my soapbox. Actually run through some of the indexes here. What do I expect? Well, S&P. I was kind of warning that if we broke below that 4,300 level, we would see a flush out. That's pretty much what we did. Right down to the bottom of the box. Holding the bottom of the box at the close, that was positive. That's the range where we consolidated right back here in June. Kind of held that. That's positive. If we don't hold it, if we go on down, probably come on down to this zone right down here tomorrow. If we go on down. Be right down here. All right. If we don't reverse this, that's where we're headed. In Q, still didn't quite make it all the way down. I was kind of speculating this morning that we may see this flush on down and fill this gap. The purple line is the gap, and the roadmap line, we didn't do it yet. So frustrating. I was hoping that we would, just didn't do it yet. Russell completed the pattern, got a little extension even, and touched the bottom of the box. Can it get an extension? Yeah, it can get an extension on down here. 1660. 1715 is going to be support, and then 1660. Can it reverse here? You betcha. Hunting the bottom in Russell, IWM. All right. Zone, please, for what? You got to give me more. I'm jumping through charts pretty quickly here. CL, likely to retrace to the roadmap line. Is kind of holding these lows so far. We got a little green today. There's something that was green in the face of all the blood in the streets. Saw a little bit of green on oil, but if we get below that, if we actually get a close down here, we're probably going to come all the way down into this area down here around 81-ish again. We get down there, it's probably time to buy again. Gold continued its drop. Didn't quite make it all the way to the bottom of the target being this range on this beginning of this watermelon seed squeeze thing that we broke out of the bottom. A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, that was it. So this range right here, this was the first move, second move, third move, fourth move, fifth move, and that was the breakdown. So right there. Came up a little shy. We may see gold push just a little lower. Bitcoin got a retrace today. Came back to test the roadmap line. Classic thing. We hold above it and turn up again. It can go on a big epic run. Ethereum bounced off the roadmap line and came right back down to the consolidation box. Still not bullish for Ethereum. That was a 3-wave move up. We could see Ethereum do an extension down. At this point, Ether could extend down to 1460. That's kind of where I already had a target. Funny enough. Look at that. Imagine that. That may be where Ethereum is headed. Dollar probably trucking up here to 108. And flip over to the red list and hit some other futures here really quickly, like gasoline. Gasolina. Man, I saw prices. Goose, I saw something that beat yours, man. Goose sent me a picture of gas prices in LA. Ridiculous. Like 650, 660. I saw a post today. Almost $8 a gallon in California. Dang, crazy prices there. Then heating oil, diesel. Looks like we're going to get a retrace back to the roadmap line. So a little bit of relief on diesel. NG continues to mess around in the box. I don't think it's going to break out. I'm just not feeling it. It could break out. If it gets above, if we close firmly above about 310, it's probably a breakout. And we don't just take it back the next day. So far, I think we're going to probably go revisit the bottom of the box again. Usually, everybody's like, well, usually it runs into the late part of the year. Well, this year is probably may not be one of the. I mean, that may have been the run. We just ran to the top of the range that we set in February. It's February volatility, where we set the range, and that's actually right up to there. Like I said, about 310, and we're just gonna stay inside that range. We already touched on GC, silver looking like it needs to go lower. It could hold right here. It'd be awesome if it did, but it might go revisit 20 one more time. Then copper, also looking kind of bearish. It needs to hold this support. If it doesn't, if it gets below these lows from back here in May, I've said this a lot, get below those lows, we could see a drop all the way down here to 275-ish. I mean, it could be 285, somewhere in that zone. Becomes highly likely. This is just a big pattern, big corrective drop off that high from back here in 2022. That first drop, this was a corrective move up. This is looking like a corrective extension, and it can take us down to a lower low. So now some people are like, there's no way that copper can drop while the market rallies. That's fine, but old market adages don't always hold true. It's like utilities are always a flight to safety. Well, the market has been down for the last 7 days, and utilities have been down an epic like 15% or 10 to 15%. They're supposed to be the safe haven, right? Well, they're not right now, not in this drop. So be careful latching on to old market adages. All right, this kind of the highlights there. The zone for ES. Circle back really quickly. Talking about the zone down here that I was talking about going to visit. That'd be right down there around 41.80 to 42.15. That's that zone we'll probably go visit if we break down below, if we get some continuation lower. Probably correspond to the S&P 500 making a trip down to at least 41.60, if not the 618 down here around 41.40. Probably correspond with that kind of move on S&P, the cash index. Alrighty, there you go. That's the long and the short of it. It is now time for 30 minutes of requests. Your request, my request, everybody's request. Hit the highlights right. That was epic bearishness, started Q4. Yep, and now we're on to the 30 minutes of requests. So Netflix first up, and we retraced the roadmap line and held it so far. Holding in a holding pattern. So the levels, we tried to break higher today, couldn't do it, closed back at the lows. It's actually, the bodies actually makes it an inside day. We tried to break out, didn't really try to break down. It is a higher low. And if we get above this zone at 450 area, probably going up here to the top of the box, that did the gap fill up around 515. There you go. That's Netflix. CL, already covered oil. SOXL. Talking about Colgate, CL. SOXL right down there. It is a leveraged instrument. Be careful. Leverage does not always follow the patterns. All right, leverage. It's kind of done a bounce off the bottom. You kind of have to watch SOXX. This is what it's leveraging. And right now it's holding the roadmap line. So an aggressive entry break above here would be a positive, but we do have resistance right up here, right there. So this is the chart to watch for SOXL. All right. CL, Colgate, Palmolive is in the garbage. That's a lower low. Don't mess with this junk. All right? Don't mess with stuff. Look. What makes you think that's a bullish reversal at this point? That was a 3-wave move up. The extension down is likely going to be right down here at 64. And you see how crooked my line is at that point. Still crooked. There's no straight line there. There we go. straight-ish. We're below that. Sets it up for kind of a medium probability move to flush on down to 64. All right. Google had been holding up well, still seeming to hold up well. Not really playing with QQQ dropping. That's kind of a positive. Showing strength in the face of the market down. This thing will probably rip higher once this thing is done. Once this correction is over, this will be your leader. Target right up here. Didn't even retrace the roadmap line. Didn't even try. That's showing strength. You know, Microsoft finally gave it up. Finally hit the roadmap line. You know, could it go on an extension lower? Yeah, it could. Is it likely? Probably not. I mean, even Apple was the other, one of the other market leaders showing strength today. Actually got a green candle. That's probably done. All right, we've seen the liquidation there. We've seen the liquidation in Microsoft. So there you go. All right, MRO. Oh, I skipped TLT up there. TLT is complete garbage. MRO. MRO. Right back to the roadmap line. Can she hold? That's the question. Here you go. Here's the move right there. Got to get it back above 27 for 28 or 29. Not a huge range, not a huge possibility. I'm not sure why you want to mess with it at this point, unless you're just holding a lot of shares. You work for Marathon, whatever. Potential's not huge. And it's not really an entry till we're back above that 27. So just looks gnarly. I mean, we have the bigger pattern, but that's kind of the baby pattern we're working on right now. Alrighty. And TLT. Skip that one. The chat is kind of rolling forward on me there. Yeah, TLT below the target. How low can she go? A lot lower. That's the answer. A lot lower. A lot lower. Yeah, so we got 8160 is the next target down. See, that's where that 1272 is where that one came from. 8160. Next target down. Likely to get a retrace after we get to that point, but it can keep on going. We can get down to epic lows that we haven't seen. I talked about this morning. This is back to where we started, all the way back in the housing crisis. We look at the monthly. Look, 2003, coming off the back of the .com, back down. 2008, 9, 5. Well, then 8, 9, got a little spike and came right back down. Same area. Can we find the bottom here? We could. Does it have to go higher? Nope. Can it go lower? Yep. Can it make the lowest low we've had? Yep. Do not buy TLT because somebody told you it can't go any lower. It can keep going lower. All right. Be careful. You've been warned. All right. XYLD. And it doesn't really move much. That's a XYLD. Yeah, there you go. Retrace back to the lows, kind of. I picked up a position in QYLD back here in last year. We're still way up here on QYLD. XYLD, not quite as awesome. XYLD. XYLD. Fingers on the right keys. Kind of right back to the lows. So I did buy like 500 more shares of this for myself. Pays a healthy dividend, 11%. If we rally right back up, that'll be a nice little chunk. I mean, it's not a big mover. It didn't do that yet. It didn't break above. Just kind of going sideways, just chugging along sideways. Kind of drifts higher, and then start drifting higher. Yeah, this was a big flush out, really. So kind of interesting how much that moved down compared to what the S&P 500 did. Now, RYLD, another one. The Russell, that one keeps on chugging down. So that one's kind of flushed out quite a bit. Much lower. And it doesn't really match the IWM chart. I mean, look, IWM is not way lower, so kind of interesting on the YLDs. Alrighty. NEE? I'm not sure. I'll try NEE. Nextera? Is that the one NEE you want? I mean, absolute dumpster fire right there. If that's the one you're talking about. Absolute dumpster fire of a chart. Don't buy this crap. Give me 3 good reasons why you would want to buy this. Why would you want to get involved? It's been a downtrend since December of 21. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Where's the bottom? We could possibly find a bottom here. Does it have to be the bottom? Nope. But it's got great value. Well, who gives a crap if it's going in the toilet? That right there says it's going down here to 30, more than likely. That pattern, see it over and over. Head right on down here. Be careful, please. For the love of all your money. Amazon came back to the roadmap line and held up really well. Another one showing some incredible strength today, holding at the roadmap line. This looks just like Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple. I mean, that's the Microsoft, Amazon, Apple all have the same pattern going on. Holding at the roadmap line. This can be super bullish once we find the bottom here. Came up we hit the 145 target. I was, took like, what, 2 months longer than almost 3 months longer than I hoped. 160 still my upside target there, and might take into the new year to get there. Amazon looks pretty good. JPM. Back to the roadmap line. Back to the roadmap line. Got lots of lines. Let's delete some stuff. Lower low today. Beautiful. It may go a little lower. It may pull down like this. Be kind of sucky, but it might to pull that 618 down to the consolidation there. Could go even lower. I don't know. Right now, it's got to get above this, right up here around 154 to get me interested in going long for 163 or 169. Otherwise, it could go a little lower and come retest this orange box. That would kind of pull that 618 down about where it needs to be. About where I think it needs to be. I don't know if it needs to be there or not. It just looks like it might, like, for some reason there's some resistance going higher. You know, it found it right there, and right there. If you don't see what I mean, it's like right there, and right there. That resistance, usually it'll pull the 618 down into that area before it finds a bottom. So it could go down to 131. It could go down in the orange box at 136. But it could find a bottom here and turn up and break above this stuff and go on higher. Entirely possible. There's no high probability anything at the moment. I'm just kind of speculating. So there you go. All right. CCL. Got a wicked retrace below the roadmap line. Caution. That's your first. So we didn't hold the roadmap line and we started accelerating down. That's like the first warning shot. Know when you're wrong. All right. If we overlap this right here, if we overlap that high right there, odds are we're coming all the way back down. You're gonna be like, no way. Yes way. There is a little bit of support left at 11, then at 9, which is pretty much coming all the way back down, and then 6 if we go all the way back down. Be careful on Carnival. Does it have to find a bottom now? No way, Jose. Tesla, I've been talking about quite a bit. It held the roadmap line, looking pretty positive, holding a higher low, very positive. Got the Cybertruck launch pending, pretty positive. Sold less cars than they meant to, didn't make as many cars as they meant to, a little bit negative. I don't know which one's the. I mean, the chart is kind of bullish, and it looks like once this market correction wraps up, this thing can rip right out to 322, possibly 352, and I am long TSLL in the shares. Didn't really suffer on that one today. Just kind of hanging out. I got long a couple days ago, and still positive. There you go. All right, thoughts on Siri? What kind of thoughts you want? That's a gnarly chart. That's the Indian Siri instead of the Nasdaq Siri. Still a gnarly chart. Rejected the roadmap line. I bought 100 calls for five or 450. Anybody remember? I'm sitting on 100 calls that I bought for 6 cents a piece. They went up to 60 cents, but then they're back down to like 15 cents. Still above what I paid for them. I think they're 450. Maybe they were $5 calls. Anyway, what do I think it's gonna do? I don't know. I bought it on unusual call volume. I saw 75,000 calls get bought. I was like, I'll buy 100 for 6 cents. I mean, I watched them get bought, and then I watched 75,000 puts get sold. So somebody was like getting pretty bullish, selling puts and buying calls, all at the same strike. So, what do I think is going to happen? I don't know. It's worth a shot. It could be a gamma squeeze. It could be a short / gamma squeeze. Liberty Media. Can't remember their ticker. They've got a bunch of tickers, it looks like. A shares, B shares. Got a bunch of crap. They went a little crazy the other day on, some of these shares did. Which was it? Was it the B shares or the C shares? Oh. I don't know, one of these went crazy when they announced that they should do a merger. And that's what Siri did, that last drop. This showed up on the Morning Monster last week when we did this. And then the next day I like bought the calls, and then we did this. Or I guess it's 2 days later. I bought them right here. We did this. Retraced. What's it gonna do now? I'm not sure. It's worth a shot though. I put like a couple $100 on this. Or I guess $600, right? That's a 50% retrace. This can go off. So far, it's one of my measured bounce patterns. And I'm talking like, see my alert right there. That's why it's there, $6. I'm thinking we could do that. If we get a turn in the market, may pop right up to that price right there. Maybe 650. I can make a few $100 off this. It'd be nice. So there you go. That would be Siri. All right. Meta. Meta did the retrace of the gap fill and stopped. We came up, filled that gap, and stopped. I warned back in August when we filled that gap, or July, whatever it was, that we may not do anything for a while in Meta. That took a huge amount of energy to go fill that gap. We went from epic lows down here back in the 80s all the way up and filled that gap back at 320. I mean, that took a tremendous amount of energy out of the market to do that. Tons of money. Now we had to rest. I speculated we'd probably rest for a while. Has potential to go break out and maybe go retest that high. Has potential. The way it's looking at the moment, with that lower high, we may be on a path to go back down to the roadmap line. I think the trade on Meta's played for now until this thing sets up again. It's just not, it's not doing the thing. It's just going sideways, just resting. Taking a resty after that huge rally right up there in July. It went from whatever it was back in December, wherever the low was way back here, right there in November last year, all the way through July, and then now it needs a rest. That rest could last well into, next year. Sorry if that's not what you wanted to hear. All right, Microsoft already covered. TNA has been plummeting. And TZA, I think, was the opposite. No, not TZA. What's the other one? It was on the morning monster list, wasn't it? TMV. Look at that, baby. Almost to the target. Next target up, 58. So TNA. Targets to the downside. I guess that small cap bull. I guess that TZA was the opposite. Get my fingers confused. Sorry. And we could break out and go to 41. Could. TNA could drop on down to 22. Be careful playing with leverage. Those are all leveraged. Leverage. Be careful. FNGU. That's another leveraged. I warned about that. Be careful. It hadn't really done anything. It's just stuck at the roadmap line. Hadn't moved. It's got to get up here above this. Right here. Got to get above that. Forward bullish. At this point, it's wrecked every other pattern. Unless we're above that, there's no bullish entry. We get above that 195, probably heading up to 250, maybe 280. If we don't do that, we could break down and go lower. All right. Man, you say 250's off the table. I don't see how 250 is off the table. It's made a higher low at this point, and you can think 130. I mean, you can think what you want, but holding the lows really well. And it is leverage, so leverage doesn't always follow my pattern. So it's just a wild, educated wild guess with a double money sign in the middle. All right. INTC. It wrecked the head and shoulders pattern a while, several days ago. So if you don't watch the morning shows, you probably didn't know that. INTC, right back to the roadmap line. And working on something bullish. If we can get back above, this needs to be pulled up here. This needs to be pulled over here. We get back above 39. Looks like 41 and 44. And probably go break out of that prior high. And then already did TLT and shop. And it bounced off the roadmap line. Just kind of holding the lows. Could it turn up? It could. That's not positive. Bouncing down. If we get below this low, Might go on an extension. Let's be honest about this. It may come down to this 44 to 48 area right here. Like that. All right. Mara has support way down here at 6. Then more support down at 5. Looked pretty horrible though. A lot of miners got hit today. Pretty wicked too for Bitcoin not doing anything. It was a mass liquidation event on Bitcoin miners. Even Bitcoin holders. I mean, that was pretty rough across the board. Classic flush out. Shake out the weekends. There you go. Classic. This is not really anything I haven't seen before. You have to rewind all the way back before the halving event. Back here when it was bloody. Bloody stuff back here. And back in Mora, back here, it was way down in the basement. I mean, volatility at the wazoo. Bloody, shake you out price action right there. So be careful. If you can't handle it, don't trade those. If you don't sleep at night because your position in Mora, you got too much, you should close it. Riot, HUT, crypto, whatever it is, don't trade crypto if you can't sleep at night. CME, could it be positive? Yeah, it's kind of holding up well for a market correction. Bounced off the 1618. Probably going to come back down to 193 area and touch the roadmap line. Probably going to work its way back down in here. Already. Hey, Alex. I do own tons of shares of Mora. I bought them at lower prices, and I sell stuff against them all the time. So, CVNA, I have a super cheap cost basis. Been buying shares from like $5, maybe $3. I don't know. CVNA probably coming back to the roadmap line right in here. Get below that, we can go on down. This is a dumpster fire company. A fair looking chart. And MCD. That's a big ouch. Maybe on the way to a deeper retrace, all the way down. Okay, go back to 190. That could be it. That could have been the end of the bull move in McDonald's. We could see a pretty epic retrace. 618. USD, JPY. Get that right. Let's go with forex.com. Oh, nice. Right up past the 6-1. Then got up past the move. Let's see. Yep. It may retrace to the roadmap line. Kind of finish that move up. You see how it stopped at the 1272, hit, consolidated, popped. That can be the end. Maybe like, whoa, wait a minute. If the DXY is trying to go to 108, how could this retrace? Well, just be careful. All right. That looks like it might be the end for the current move. We get another retrace, we can wrap this baby up. Look, this be an echo right here, right back to the roadmap line, back right there. Get a nice retrace, And we can pull this forward right like this and go on another epic run. We're up to 152, possibly 155. Just be careful. Other ways to play that, FXY, plummeting out the other way. It's like the inverse of what we just had up. Right down there, 1618, could retrace up and then drop out. If you have time, ET. ET is coming back the roadmap line, looks like. Be my guess. Like it ran out of steam to the upside. Had a sloppy head and shoulders in there. Tried to pop. Now probably coming back. And GLBS. Well. So that fits one of the four things don't really follow the patterns. China. Biotechs, pharmaceuticals, medtech, biotech, medtech, leverage stuff, and the final one, low price stuff. Under $10, hard to predict when things do stupid stuff like this. There is a large consolidation right there, and that's going to be a supply zone. May have a little trouble getting through that before going any higher. They lose lots of money on not a lot of money. Price to sales is 1. Not great. Net income says positive, even though it looked like they were losing money. Growth is weird. I'd be careful. Can it pop out of here? It could. Can that be the bottom? Sure, it could. Did it come down a long way? Yeah. Was that reverse split back over here bearish? You betcha. Could that be the bottom? Could. Does that have to do anything? Nope. Could that be just the top and then we come right back down? Yep. Be careful. On Globus. MELI. I got time. Looks like we're bouncing off the roadmap line. Didn't do that extension. Instead, it did another move down. So resistance right there. And that roadmap one. Kind of fits with Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google. Well, not Google. What was the other one? Netflix. Fits with those high flyers. We may see an extension up to 15, maybe 16 on the upside. All right, WDC. Western Digital. Yeah, holding up really well, actually, in the face of all the other market corrections going on. Resistance at 47. Right there. May have a little trouble getting up through that right there. So the low, the kind of the high resistance, the high resistance. So that's going to be a support zone right there. Or I mean a resistance zone. Then we have the bigger downtrend kind of cooking in there too. So that's WDC for you. Yeah, you can, so there's a slider on YouTube right down here. You can just pull that back and go find anything that I've already said. And then you can watch it and fast forward if you want to catch back up. So it's all, you just pull the slider and go back and see anything I said. It's instantly recorded. Imagine that. Beautiful, right? That's why I use YouTube. So if you missed something I said, you can just go rewatch it. I mean, if you're like, oh, wait, what did he say? Just pull the slider back. You can hear me say it again. NCHL, just going sideways. Just going sideways. X. That's stuck in the resistance. That looks pretty nice, though. In the face of all the other crap going on, that doesn't look too horrible. Probably 34 resistance right there. Not too bad, not too bad. Spot. I got long again. That's holding up really, really well. Look at that beautiful hold right there. It didn't even dip back to the roadmap line again at this point. Just holding nice. I mean, kind of reminds me of Google's chart a little bit. Kind of reminds me of all of them. We did the roadmap line bounce before the correction really got going. Now we're holding right here. I got that feeling like we're going to rip out to possibly 195, maybe 213, possibly. If things get extra excited, we could see some higher prices, but that'd be the realistic upside target, like 196 right there. Let's be real about it. Like, don't get overly optimistic. All right, let's keep it in check. We're not going to 9,000. 196, that's probably a good target. And it may take us, depending on how this shapes up, it could be out into the end of the year. It could be the beginning of next year. That's a really nice potential. Now, if we break below the roadmap line, it kind of wrecks this thing. But right now, really nice. I added back in my call. I'm just kind of sitting on a call out to next year. Maybe out to June next year. I don't know. I bought some time, and it was like a $2,000 call. This thing looks really nice. Really, really nice. S-Books. Keeps going in the toilet. There's the target. I drew that target on there in that 618 retrace. Said if it got below that, we're probably going on down. Looks like we might be heading on down. We'll see if it actually hits. Sometimes I get lucky and things I draw on the charts come true. I mean, that one came true. Took a little while, longer than I thought it might. And I drew it in July. Took till September. I drew this one a couple weeks ago, and that one may get there faster. There you go. All right. And Snap. Tell me, who uses Snap? How many of you use Snap? Besides Wrongamer. I don't even know anybody that has it on their phone. That's right back to lows. Be careful. I don't see a large portion of the population taking over using Snap for anything. It's not like this one comes to mind for anything out there. We kind of hit resistance and turn right back down. This is kind of a garbage chart. And if we start breaking below these lows, watch out below. All right. You've been warned. If we don't reverse, if we dip below there and don't reverse it hard again, it might be heading toward some lower prices. How much lower? Like 6, maybe 5. It's not too, no bueno. All right, no bueno. Not too good there. All right. Yeah, if you're watching, I appreciate it. Hit me some likes. Share with somebody you love. Share with somebody you know. Share with somebody you think might use this information. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the alert button so you know when I go live tomorrow morning for the market movers. I'll be updating the market pre-market, trying to guess where we might go tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm talking about the bottom being in place, but hopefully we're not talking about continuation lower, but that is possible, as I talked about earlier. So, all right, BYDD, BYDDY. What a wicked ticker. OTC. And sideways bunch of garbage. We set a large range. It's a high price for an OTC stock, but $92 billion market cap? Kidding me right now? Oh, market's open. That didn't look too good. Price to sales 1. That's not a lot of, they're not making a lot of money off of the revenue. What is this thing? Chart didn't tell me much. So I don't know. Sideways is what that looks like. I mean, look, it's been sideways for a long time. Range has been a little wider. Hadn't done anything for 2 years, 2.5, almost 3 years. So, yeah, Buffett play. I don't know. Doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. It's not something I'm like, ooh man, that's going to 600. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning, everybody. Have a great day. And be Chinese EV. All right, that makes sense. If it's Chinese EV, the numbers are all cooked anyway. Remember, that was on the list. China stuff. Can't believe anything a Chinese company puts out there unless you see it for yourself. Be careful. They lie. They, I mean, was it LNKCY? LNCKY? I can't remember. LKNCY. There we go. You remember this garbage? Got delisted. How many years it's taking to come back? Right. Oh, they're lying. They stayed delisted for like a long time. I stayed in calls. It relisted, and I booked my calls. Thank the Lord. I had thousands of dollars tied up in this thing. And like delisted twice or some stupid crap. Not touching it. There's a reason China's on the list. I'm telling you. Be careful. China, low price stuff, leverage stuff, biotech, pharma. Gambling. Anyway, have a great day. I'll be back live in the morning, 9:15. See ya then. Hopefully, come back and watch me. Have a good time.